Hi, folks. It's me, CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. I'm about to have an early dinner. It's, for me, uncharacteristic. I'm normally having this meal about 11 o'clock at night, but um, yeah, I'm just feeling it. I feel the need for food and comfort food. And so this is something that I want to share with you. This treatment for boneless, skinless uh, chicken breast, and you really could use it with any white meat chicken, but chicken, those boneless, skinless chicken breasts are already prepped and everything, and you don't even have to like pound them out flat. You can just slice them into oh, roughly that, you know, uh, about 3 inches long and maybe about an inch or so thick. I don't know. Um, and you can use any type of egg noodle that you want, or you can use any sort of anything that the chicken can set upon a pallet or whatever. I'm using this is a prepackaged egg noodle that actually has like some chicken seasoning or something in it or something. But the real star of this is the chicken, and not even so much the chicken, but the what I've done with the chicken, because I actually put this in a pot. Now I started with a uh, just a general, idea of a Instapot recipe. Well, I don't use an Instapot. I use a stove on a stovetop. Like a pot on a stovetop. Tradition. The lid and everything, but it's not a pressure cooker, anything like that. Just regular old, you know, uh, you know, pot. You might call it a Dutch oven if you were doing this in the oven. But anyway, uh, about because I did 4 chicken breasts. I cut them up because I did a large amount, and the reason why is this is so good, and you can have it in so many different ways. And if you keep it for a couple of days, it's even better. It's one of these things where the flavor just gets more intense. So let me tell you about it. It's I started in the bottom of this pan. It's going to sound dreadfully terrible for your heart, but when you realize how these ingredients, how far they stretch, and then how much of the excess oils and fats you actually drain off uh, in the finished product, that you actually, then you're like, okay, well, it's not nearly as bad as it sounds. But we're going to start in the bottom of the pan with about half a stick of butter. Uh, Unsalted butter is what I use. Now you can eyeball it if you've got like a little bit more. The measurements here are not that important, but you're going to put that in the bottom of the pan. You're going to start to let that melt. You can go with maybe you can go up. I honestly, it was probably closer to it was a little over half of a stick of unsalted butter. But anyway, it's in the pan, and I because it's butter and I don't want it to brulee. I don't want it to burn. Uh, I balanced it with a little bit of oil to have a little bit of control over the butter. If you want to use margarine, uh, then go ahead and just double the amount of butter that you would do and leave the oil out. Uh, that's fine. You don't need to add oil if you're using margarine, because margarine or oleo or something, they're kind of you know oil based anyway, so you really don't need any sort of butter substitute. Basically, you don't need to add the oil. But when you're using you know butter, like real butter, you want to when you're doing any sort of on the stove, you do want to balance. That's with the flame underneath the heat source, coming from underneath. You definitely do want to add a little oil. Okay, so to that, I started adding my seasonings. Now, this is going to sound astronomical, but the things that I've mentioned here, not only are they cozy comfort foods, but they're actually really good. Okay, so I started with enough granulated garlic probably about 3 bulbs of garlic into that pot. There's probably about the equivalent of 30 or 40 cloves of garlic, just that I just threw in. And normally I would say add your garlic at the end, but in this case it really wasn't going to matter because we're not roasting it. It's not going to get scorched or burned or anything. It's in the juices. It's not going to dry out. It's not going to burn. Burned garlic or garlic that gets not even burned, but caramelized to the slightest degree starts to get a bitterness. And so you want to be aware of that. And if you're going to use the garlic for that purpose, because you want the bitter end of the flavor that the garlic will give you, then yes, you can go ahead and you can put it in the oven, and at the beginning of roasting anything, or you can put it on the bottom of your pan when you're just kind of like sauteing or whatever, and get that nice caramelization first. Then you're going to get a bitterness. But I didn't worry about sauteing because everything that I added was basically in powder form. But garlic has this wonderful sweet, twist to it that works really, really, really well when it's not caramelized and when it's heated up and that flavor goes all throughout. So garlic's one of those things you just not only, you just realize you're not just putting it in and it getting like one flavor. You've got different types of flavors that you can render from a garlic. Just like an onion, you could get like a, kind of like almost a peppery bite from a near raw onion. On a salad or something, and that same onion, if you put it and you caramelize it, you're going to bring out sweetness. So almost the opposite of what you would do with what happens with garlic. You draw out some of those sweetnesses into the pan. But anyway, any garlic or anything like that the garlic's here, and then I used what else? Oh, tarragon. Now, garlic is basically an antibiotic. It works in the body like an antibiotic. It's not FDA medicine or anything like that, and there are no studies for it, but every doctor that I've ever spoken with, and don't let me practice medicine, I'm not a doctor, but every doctor that I've ever spoken with has advocated garlic. When I bring it up, they either advocate it, most of them do, or they say there's really no harm in as much garlic as you can get, but for me, I think it really bolsters the immune system. You look at, yeah, check it out. That's not BS. That's there's some truth to that, and then so tarragon, added a lot of tarragon to this. There are various recipes for chicken with tarragon in buttery or creamy sauces already out there. You can use any of them for a guide or you want to, but this is just something I was just throwing into the pot together. I looked at some sort of something for some sort of chicken. I think it was a lemon pepper chicken because I had some lemon pepper seasoning that I was going to use. Like it came in a package. And so I had 2 packages. So there's about 2 ounces of that seasoning mix. So we do get a twist. And by the way, garlic works really well if you're going to use any sort of lemon or lemon pepper, lemon zest, citrus, anything like that. Garlic pairs really well with those flavors, as it does with onion. All the aromatics go really, really well. Tarragon is an aromatic herb, but also functions as topically an antibacterial on the chicken. So does rosemary. If you use rosemary, I'm not sure about basil, but I didn't use rosemary, but I used some Italian seasoning that has a little bit of all the green herbs in it. But I did add some basil, some dried basil, but you put it in here, it reconstitutes, and you get like a really powerful, like you get a sweetness from that sweet basil. But it's not sugar. It's not, it's not like a sugary sweetness. It's an herby sweetness. And when I tell you what I added here, now you could get this. This is something I don't normally tell people. There's something that I do. It's kind of and in a lot of what I do with something like this, I don't typically use okra, like a stewed okra or whatever, basically because I really don't care for the texture of it, but I love the flavor of a boiled uh, okra used in a lot of you know Cajun and Creole cuisine. Uh, but I don't like the okra itself. I just like the flavor of it. So if I get like a can of uh, say gumbo or something that has like okra in it or whatever, it's usually chopped up small enough. Then that's fine. I can do that. But really, when I'm at home, and I'm going to do like a gumbo. I'll use a gumbo filet, which is filet is a um, the root of a sassafras plant, and it's yeah, ground up, and basically it's powdered, and you can use that, and you get your that same zip. All is almost identical flavor to a gumbo flavor. If you're doing you know Cajun or Creole kind of food, And there's a big debate. Some people like have a conniption. They'll be, I once had a girl at my school when I was back in school, and we were having this conversation. And I was talking about gumbo, and I'm like, gumbo actually means the word itself is derived from the word that means okra, and traditionally, okra was used to flavor gumbo instead of filet. And the girl was like, but if you put uh, okra in the gumbo, my grandma would slap your face. And my first response was like, and I was like, in my 19, 20 years old, I was like, if your grandmother slaps me, I'll slap her back. We'll just have a slap fight. Uh, Probably not the right response. I'm older. I'm more chilled out. Cooler heads do prevail. But, and I have plenty of gumbo filet gumbo seasoning. Gumbo filet is the name of the seasoning when you want to make filet gumbo or any other. You want that any sort of a zip to that. But this is not quite a gumbo. It could have been if I'd have added some more aromatics, like if I'd have added big chunks of onion, celery, bell pepper, carrots, that kind of stuff, and then I could claim this as a traditional gumbo if it would have had the sausage in it, and it would have been the gumbo yaya, that is that famous you know chicken and sausage, but. Um, but these are all like closely related dishes and whatever. This is the kind of thing that basically I'm not even measuring. I'm just throwing stuff in, and that's how these things, the traditional French cooking, you don't waste anything. And basically, I was just like I was kind of looking on my spice rack, and the spices that I had that were getting a little low to the bottom, I was just going to go ahead and use them up so I could replace them, basically. But meanwhile, all this is slowly coming to a slow simmer, this chicken. It takes, when you do like a raw chicken breast, boneless and skinless, and you do it about about an inch thick like that or whatever, it maybe will take a good 15 minutes to cook. You From a boiling, you want to get it, you want to make sure that you get your chicken cooked and heated all the way to that 165 degrees. You don't play around with that when it comes to chicken. So it's really okay for this because it's kind of a stewing process. It's really okay to go way longer than that 20 minutes. As a matter of fact, I marinated this chicken in these, like I cooked them, but this is the kind of thing that I cooked. And then when I got the chicken up to temperature, then I took it off the heat and prepped it and put it away in the refrigerator uh, until today. So it was, and the reason why is these are flavors that if you do that, if you cook it like the day before you're going to eat it, it's really great. And this is the sort of thing that will last you forever. So that sounds like leftovers, but no, it's very intentional. I didn't do the noodles until today, though. But so I did not use gumbo filet. In place of the gumbo filet, what I used was something else that will give you the exact same zip. It will that it's a slight, tarragon has sort of a anise licoricey kind of flavor of its own, so you can get some of that from there. But what I added, and you can see probably on here, there's a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Now these, you can take these and you can put them. You can put a little sugar, a little simple syrup, a little water or whatever, and you can candy these fennel seeds. Or you can just take them, as I did, the fennel seed, and put them into this stock, along with just a touch of water, maybe with all that I put in. And maybe I put in, yeah, I think I did. I had not enough that you even can look and see. I had some, because this is a lot of lemon flavor and a lot of zip and everything, and so I want to give a balance to it, for no other reason really than just to balance the flavor and give something to it. I did two things. Once I was ready, I added a little bit, maybe about 2 tablespoons to a large pot of salsa, tomato-based salsa I put in. Okay, and that's just, you can't even tell. That's how little that's in there. But it's basically the equivalent. It's the opposite. When you make a large red sauce in Italian cooking, a lot of marinara sauce, what you want to do is you want to give a balance. So what you'll do is you'll add maybe a twist of lemon, maybe about a teaspoon of lemon to give that balance, to give a little cohesiveness to the flavors, nuances and everything. To this, you could add sugar. To this, you won't need to, because there's these natural sweetnesses coming out from the garlics and everything like that. So you really won't need that. And I'm not exactly sure. When you look at a package and they, in parentheses, they give you a list of ingredients and then they just give a generalized seasonings. That means that there's something in there that's so little, so few of, that it's not nutritionally important at all, and so they don't have to list it. A lot of times that's where you're going to find some extra sodium, some extra sugars and things like that you just, yeah. So you want to be aware of things like that when you're using like packages. And I did use 2 ounces of a lemon pepper seasoning. But anyway, yeah. What else? I think that's about it. Oh no, there's one more thing. I wanted there to be kind of a creamy bottom, but I did not want a milky sauce. So what I did was I shaved off little bits of smoked Gouda, and I let that melt. And I did that just today as I was reheating. Recooking, basically. I didn't just reheat. I actually took this and brought it back up to a boil and cooked it all the way through. So this is basically a twice cooked chicken. But also look how tender it is. The more tender you want your chicken, where you can just take your fork and slice into it. You don't want to have to fool with a knife, Maybe if you want to, be a little delicate with your food in front of company, you want to be able to just take your fork, slice into it, and you want this to pull away. And if I wasn't on my phone talking, that's it. And so let's get a good look at this. So delicious. The reason why I did this over the course of 2 days, for the most part, I was going to do it yesterday, but I was going to cook it throughout the day yesterday. It's just that I got the opportunity to go out and take care of some errands that I really needed to take care of. Get to a meeting. I needed a meeting. I do 12 steps. So I this was at a point where I could, you know, close up shop here, put it aside, and get back to it tomorrow, and that's fine. Settings. It was basically, um, letting this sit really lets those flavors soak in. If you ever do any kind of stewing of a chicken of any kind, if you do any sort of slow cooking of a chicken. Let me not talk with my mouth full, even though you're not looking directly at me. That is so cool. Now these noodles, basically they're just here to help soak up the sauce. Rice would have worked, potatoes would have worked. You basically could have just taken bits of buttered toast and put on the plate, and then put the chicken on your buttered toast if you wanted less carbs. I'm at a place right now where I don't have to worry too much about that. I've been getting a lot of exercise, and I've been, eating well and with good habits. So, a little bit of splurging is not going to hurt me. Actually, I think my body's telling me that I need it. But this is a good hearty bread with lots of seeds inside of it. If I'm going to go for a bread, if I'm going to eat bread, I want something. I'm a little bit more aware of. There's fiber, there's nutrients, there's protein inside of these nuts. These nuts inside the bread, and so it's healthier than a slice of white bread. Although, white bread, it's not bad for you at all. This is almost, if this were sweeter, this could be a pound cake. It's not sweet, but it's got that texture. This almost could have been, Let me go see if I can find the name of that. I think I know it. I'm going to check. Yes, so it's this Grains Almighty, and I guess there's honey in here. Maybe that's what I'm tasting a little. That's what kind of got me. Wow, there's a touch of sweetness, but you really can't quite tell. But yeah, but there's sugar in bread anyway. But that's probably just to activate the yeast. It's probably just enough there to do that. But there's flax, barley, sunflower seeds, and sprouted grains with just a touch of sprouted grains. So that's what you would call, when there's sprouts in your bread, there's a name for it, and it's called Ezekiel bread. And if you're going to have a bread, something with a lot of grain in it, and preferably if you have sprouts in the bread, they probably could have done with a little bit more of the sprouts, actually. There's probably some right there, but it's very good. It's very delicious, and I don't do a lot of product endorsement. I really don't when I'm talking about food. Because I think generally ingredients are just as good as other, like salt is salt, sugar is sugar, noodles are noodles, chicken is chicken, carrots are carrots, that kind of stuff. Because I don't do a lot of processed foods anyway. Almost everything I do is, off the bone cut, and then I do it myself. But this is a good bread. So Grains Almighty. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because if you go out and you buy some Grains Almighty, then they will stay in business. And you know how it is when you find something that you like and you love it, and it's like, wow, now I can't find it anywhere. I don't want that to happen. This is a pretty good bread. And I can't buy bread all the time. I don't really keep bread around. Sometimes I like to bake too. But yeah, wow. Also, I'm starved for the carbs. That's why I'm sitting here devouring bread when I've got this chicken in front of me. Hang on. It's rude to talk with my mouth full, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is basically take your fork and just kind of pull the bits of chicken away, and it just, you don't even need a knife for this, you know. Egg noodles and dumplings are very closely related. So closely related that if you really didn't flavor the chicken, but you just kind of like, you know, boiled it down in its own broth, maybe added a touch of chicken bouillon. Oh, and I did add a bit of chicken bouillon to that broth, by the way, uh, that I described to you. Um, so basically, and everything else that went with it, you know, everything else that I said was there, but yeah, that's yeah. I think yeah. As I talk, if I think of other things, I'll throw it in. But I think that's it. Just a touch of bouillon at the beginning. I didn't wait till the end. Uh, oh my God, that's really delicious. Like I barely contain it inside my mouth long enough to chew it because it's so delicious. I just want to, you know, gobble it down. It's important to chew food. What I found out about chewing food, like taking the time to really chew and enjoy and be present with the food, you know, we're in such a fast culture, you know, and I realized this a long time ago. I was a driver. Uh, I drove a cab, you know, for 6 or 7 months or whatever. And so while I was driving the cab, it was always like, let me just run through this fast food and grab the fast food and eat the burger in my cab while I'm waiting for my next fare, you know, and just really rush, and not really, and so that, you know, sometimes we get into that, you know, like we've got like just a very short, maybe work in, and we've got like a 30-minute lunch break. So that means we need to rush to the food court or whatever and grab something and eat it really fast, you know, and it sounds good and it sounds delicious. My God, what's your favorite food? Maybe, you know, whatever that you love to have, you know, at the food court or whatever, in your strip mall or your next store in your little shopping center or whatever, and you want to go and get it and you love it, but you've got maybe like 30 minutes, so you go get it and then you have to like eat it and then be back at work. You have to go there to the counter, pay for it. I guess you can order online now, maybe cut some time, but you don't want to do that while you're working because you're supposed to be working, right? So anyway, yeah, think about it. It's like just we don't spend enough time to really enjoy our food, and so that's a habit that I picked up: scarfing my food, scarfing my meal, and it would be that I'd go to maybe I'd go to eat with someone or a group of people or whatever, and the meal would be halfway over because people are laughing and talking and enjoying their food. Meanwhile, I have cleaned my plate and I'm ready for the next course. I'm ready for the dessert or something like that. And it's like, well, let me just sit here and, you know, and so what do I do? You know, so what I learned to do, and especially when I just, you know, I found it better even by myself here at the house, just to slow down, take the time with my food. It's sometimes, you know, this is something that it probably would have taken, honestly, probably about 2 hours total, you know. So that's not bad for this. And I'm saying from the, you know, putting the sauces together, all those seasonings and everything, they went in the pan before I put the chicken in, by the way, even the water, all those seasonings that I mentioned, no measurement at all, garlic, tarragon, uh, fennel, lemon pepper seasoning. Uh, that's the only thing that was really measured, because I know that because it came out of a pack. Uh, I had 2 1 ounce packs, so it was like 2 ounces. That's how I know. Otherwise, I wouldn't even know how much of that I put in there, because you kind of go by aroma. You listen to your smell. A little bit of basil, a little bit of Italian seasoning blend, uh, a little bit of I just named them all, so I should be able to name it again. A little bit of chicken bouillon powder, uh, uh, which you can also use cornstarch, because bouillon powder is kind of thickening and maybe has some cornstarch in it. But if you didn't want to add that, you could use cornstarch, or you could use a combination of both. But cornstarch, you don't put it directly in the water, though. You have to take the powders, like a cornstarch or a bouillon, and you have to slightly dissolve them into a little cup and then pour them into your water. Otherwise, it's going to clump and you're going to get a bunch of lumps. And if you're using cornstarch, not only will you not get a good dissolve, but that warm water or something like that, if you're adding it especially to water, you're going to get like little knots, probably about the texture of these garlic. So I don't know that it would matter here anyway, except it wouldn't be garlic, it would be balls of cornstarch that does not cook. So if you dissolve it in a little bit of water and then pour it into the pan that you're cooking in, you're going to get a much better dissolving of those gelatinous powders, any sort of gelatine, anything like that you're ever going to use. This is, and then of course, I talked about adding the butter and the oil in equal amounts at the beginning, and then at the end of it today, I added the yellow cheese, which in my case was smoked Gouda. You could use any cheese basically that you wanted to, just to give to work with the buttery flavor and kind of give kind of a creamier bottom to it all, kind of a nice creamy bottom to it all without it being milky, yeah. Because I wanted this to be, like this. I wanted it to be brothy and thin. I didn't want it to be so thick that it was like a cheese sauce or a cream sauce, a bechamel, as you might say in French. I didn't want that. This is much closer to a butter sauce, than a milk or cream sauce, or even a cheese sauce, which cheese sauces, I kind of lump them in with the milky sauces, bechamels anyway. Okay, so this is a very typical example of French cooking, which is very creative, and you will find several recipes online that are very similar to this, especially if you think about the fennel, if you think about the tarragon. Oh, you're going to find lots of, look up tarragon chicken. And then if you want to just add fennel to that, you can, and do it to taste. But what you're going to get, they're very closely related. You're going to get that it's a twang, it's a twist, I should say, on the tongue. You have to experience, come down to Louisiana, or get to a near Cajun or Creole restaurant near you, wherever you are, and try to find that really good bowl of gumbo. And then you'll know when you have it, because you will have there is a twist here. I don't know what it is, but when you find it, you will know. And Mm. I don't imbibe, don't cook with alcohol. I wouldn't freak out if I were at a restaurant and they used a little white wine in the pan or something. That wouldn't throw me. This would be really, really good if you have a bottle of white wine and you want to use some of it uh, in this recipe. That would work well. But let me tell you, don't ever, if you're going to use one, and I'm not advocating for it, I'm not judging it or whatever. I don't drink. Um, but if you're going to cook with white wine or red wine or whatever, anything, sherry, anything, don't ever cook with anything that you wouldn't drink. If it's not fit to go in your glass, it's not fit to go in your skillet and on your plate. Uh-huh. This is really good. This is really good. Okay. Um, I want to send out good vibes and prayers to all those who need it, um, and don't we all need it? And aside from that, I'm just going to say love and light to you all. Bon appetit. Peace. Goodbye.